disciple standing before me! Water Dragon, Sakura Lumina destroying wave!
Supreme Ultimate! Slash of Destiny!
I'm not done!
No. It's over.
What's going on, my friends? Shield Hero episode 7. I am very, very glad to report after the last couple of weeks of just not being the best that it could be. This was actually a really fun, entertaining, engaging, and good episode of Shield Hero. And I think this one was much needed. Not only did we get to learn a little bit about, Raphtalia's dad, her heritage, where she came from, how he got kicked out of 𝐜𝐴𝐴 or whatever, and kind of the things that aspired to get him to where he went and left and everything. We also got to see of what the people want there, which is a new regime, a new leader. They're not happy with taxes and rules, and it's kind of hard to understand a little bit about some of them, right? Like taxes, I totally get, right? Greedy, corrupt leadership wants high taxes. That's a common trend in today's society, and that's been a traditional trend throughout all of modern society that has had like a tax system. It's typically like, something 40, 50, 60% of your income goes to, this regime, this government, this, body, empire, king, whatever it is. And that always makes sense. Now, the other kicker to me, though, that I don't quite understand is this regime also believes in not killing anything, which in certain sense is like, oh, well, that is, I don't know what the word is exactly, but it's like, it's endearing, or that's like a belief that they have based on, religion belief or whatever it is. But those beliefs also extend to monsters and attackers and things like that. So there's a lot of things that end up happening within this region, where people are getting killed and refuse to help another person or something like that because, that law is put into place. And I don't really quite understand why that exists, but you can imagine those two things mixing, and yeah, the people here are now fighting back. So I thought this was a really good episode. It ends with them not coming up against the new Empress or King or whoever it is. I think it's the Empress. They didn't meet the weird red-haired lady, the one that looks like it could be Raphtalia's aunt or anything, which is, again, my suspicion is that it's like her crazy, bitchy aunt or something like that. But the episode ended with them, tearing down the barrier and meeting the blacksmith's, teacher, who's like a womanizer. Like he's like that uncle that just hits on every girl imaginable until like something hits one day. And they end up meeting up with them. So now the next thing is going to come. And then the rest of the episode, was focused around, them fighting back and them heading towards where the barrier was. They fought against this crazy bear, and the fights were pretty good. Ended up with, Naofumi gained a new, I think it's called like a Sakura shield, and he was able to bestow Sakura powers on his confidants or party members, which I thought was really, really cool. So the fight was really good, which I really enjoyed. And then before that, before the fight portion of them was them landing in 𝐜𝐴𝐴 and then meeting those, that random, party of people who are fighting back. And then that ended up us learning about, what happened to Raphtalia's dad and, why he left and all this other stuff there, So overall, I thought this was a really fun episode. I thought it was a really good episode. Again, I was engaged, I was entertained, and I think we really needed that because last week's episode, really sucked. A lot of you guys commented last week of like, I feel like they skipped stuff. I feel like they rushed it, and I think all of those things are true. Like it felt rushed. It felt like we didn't get the complete story. And then I felt like they were like, oh, well, the thing, and again, it could just be the writing, right? It's one of two things. It's either just very poorly written and adapted, and or the story was just badly adapted, but the actual manga or the light novel, whatever, actually had more of what happened. Because basically last week, it's, how do we get them here and separate their party? Like, oh, the water dragon and a big twister, and, they suddenly just landed on 𝐜𝐴𝐴 and they're not It just kind of felt too convenient. You know what I mean? It was just too convenient, and it was just like, so that's how that happens there. You know, so I don't know. It just wasn't really good. But regardless, you know, I'm happy that this week was much better because last week was a really poor. It was not a good episode. Last thing I'll say is, you know, Sadeena this week was definitely the MVP. You know, our whale girl was the MVP. Also, this episode, she did talk to, you know, the weird blacksmith guy. She did say that she was taken because he hits on her. She's like, oh, no, I'm taken. I don't know. Maybe somebody can fill me in. I don't know Sadeena's full past. I feel like, you know, when he met her in the, what was it? Like what's that place called where they were fighting? He was doing like the illegal fighting or whatever. I don't know what they're called, like the fights or the dungeons or whatever that they were doing. When he met her, I don't think it ever surfaced what her relationship was with whoever else, but she talked about being taken. So I was like, oh, is she talking about Naofumi? And maybe that's not the case. So if you guys know who she's taken by, or if she was just saying that as like, you know, ew, gross, you know, like, you know, when you go hit, like if you go hit on a girl right now and she's like, I got a boyfriend, you're like, she's lying. It's fine though. I don't know if it was that or she's really taken, or if she meant Naofumi in that case. But regardless, outside of that, Sadeena was the MVP this episode. Her powers came in clutch. She was electrocuting everybody. And I just really enjoyed watching her fight this week. So I thought that was a really cool, she definitely was like the MVP this episode for sure. And then one last call out is Raphtalia Sakura move. I thought that when she defeated the bear, was really cool too. So again, overall, really good episode. I think this was an 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. As opposed to last week, I watched last week's episode subbed because I think the English dub wasn't out. This week, I'm back to watching it dubbed once again. It was out. Whichever way you're enjoying it, just enjoy the show. But regardless, this episode was dubbed, and the dub is really good. I love the dub for Shield Hero. I think it's peak for me. So anyways, I don't even know why I said that. I'll see you guys next week. I want to hear you guys comments in the comments below. Hit me with the like before you guys leave. The likes really help me out on the channel, so that definitely helps me out. So please do that. And I'll see you guys next week. Peace.